Hello friends and welcome back to another episode of my Pokemon Black 2 Nuzlocke. This is going to be the 7th and final episode of the Grind Fest to basically to the revival of my team. My original team got completely wiped out. The Pokemon that I was playing with for the entirety of the game basically so far. I basically haven't used any of these Pokemon other than to fight this one trainer over and over again. And over time they've grown on me. I suppose that is the intention of Nuzlocke, so that you feel the pain even more profoundly each time. Each time that something dies. Yeah, they've really grown on me a lot. I was actually really not looking forward to what was to come based on the team that I have so far. Winona is definitely the weakest link in this group. I definitely dislike her the most, but what are you gonna do? You take your lumps where you get them, I guess. And yeah, like I'm feeling a lot better about everything. Like especially all the Pokemon that evolved, they make me feel a lot more comfortable playing with each of them, just because I feel like they're a lot more reliable now. Like I don't feel as nervous about sending them all out. So I just realized that Winona grows at a slower rate than all the other things, because she's getting less experience than Bambino is getting. Oh well, I guess the Tranquil gives less experience than the Liepard to begin with. But yeah, I think she might be a medium growth Pokemon rather than a fast growth one. Each Pokemon has like a rate at which they level up, and they require like more experience or less experience for each level depending on if they're fast or slow. For example, all the dragons grow at a slow rate, which is why if any of you have played a lot of Pokemon before, if you ever tried to level up a Dragonite or like a Garchomp or any of the big dragons in any generation, it felt really slow. Like it felt much harder to level that thing up to like level 40 than it does like your starter, for example. And that's by design. It's just like this is the big huge dragon, and it's supposed to grow slower than everything else. I was considering trying to use Future Sight here, to see if that would one-shot it. I suspect that it actually would, but I'm scared that it would detect, like this Tranquil will detect on the turn that I'm using Future Shock, and then I would just rip and shit. But I think it's okay. Future Sight's actually quite the strong move. It's just that because it's delayed by a turn, it's not that worthwhile most of the time. But I suppose that if I'm 2-hit KOing him anyway, I might as well just use 1 PP instead of 2, because it'll be the same number of turns. Yeah, that's probably correct, actually. Alright, just don't miss Jump Kick again, Bambino, and we'll be good. Like, just never miss it again for the rest of your life, and then I'll forgive you for that one miss. Okay, Bambino's almost at 35 here as well, so we'll eventually be switching him out for Sandslash for Cheryl. Oh, Bambino evolves here. Okay, cool. I'm pretty happy about that. Sawsbuck is definitely a good addition to the team. I think he learns his signature move in 2 levels. That's what I remember from looking it up like a long time ago. Yeah, this is the cool thing about Sawsbuck is whenever it evolves, like whatever season it is when it evolves, it determines what kind of mane it has. So this is the winter version. He looks very reindeer-y, very Rudolph-like. 73 attack, 81 speed. Zoroark is a superstar. Holy shit, look at that, dude. I'm quite happy with that. Oh, Bambino's only level 34. Oh, I didn't know that it evolved at 34. Okay, cool. He's a lot of HP, though. I'm pretty happy with that. He's 101 already. That's already pretty much the same as Swanna. What did I name Swanna? Frank the Swanna, that's right. Okay. After this period of time, we'll bring everybody to the battle tournament in that other city far away from here, and we'll see how they do. If it turns out that I'm gonna get wiped again, then well, we're gonna continue on with all these what's it called? With all these this grinding. I don't know what happened to my. Wait, it's this long away? Okay, that's not worthwhile. We're not going to do that from now on. Yeah, Future Sight's not worth. He's going to get hit at the end of this turn. Wait, does Winona die here? Okay, good. Yeah, that's shitty, dude. That's like not even close to worthwhile. Maybe it's like worthwhile to use like in a gym battle. The strong Pokemon. Wow, I got 0 special attack there. Holy shit! So not only do I have the worst nature possible for a special attacker, but I think that this thing also has a natural low growth rate of a special attack, like a low IV for it, because even with a decreasing nature, you shouldn't be growing 0. You should probably be growing like 1 instead of 2. You know, it's okay. We'll quickly replace Winona. Actually, maybe we should just not level up Winona. Like, fuck Winona, right? Yeah, fuck Winona. I'm not using Winona. Oh, okay. She's evolving now. Maybe that changes my mind. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, I think we're gonna keep Winona in the team, in the party, just like as a backup, you know, in case that she matches up really well against something, like a fighting type or a poison type, something like that. Yeah, I think this thing looks really funny. Gotharita. Yeah. But we're not gonna invest a lot of levels into her because she's just not worth it. Like, look at this damage, like 46, 48. That's like an evolved form version. Like, look at the rest of them. Even Swanna and Sawsbuck, who are like not the best, are much better than that thing. Wow, Sawsbuck is a piece of shit. What the fuck? Why is this so bad? Ah, it's so annoying. The Sawsbuck actually has a really good ability called Sap Sipper. Oh, right, that's right. It's a really good ability that they just don't have for, like, the one that I caught just happened to be unlucky and doesn't have that one. But Sap Sipper is an ability where anytime that you get hit by a grass type move, first of all, it does 0 damage, so you're immune to all grass moves, but also your attack raises every time that you get hit by it. And it's a really, really good ability because you can basically just stomp through all grass type gyms, or grass type Pokemon in general, because they just can't do anything to you. Holy shit, Cheryl is faster than Tranquil? What kind of world is this? Cheryl, you're a beast! Jesus Christ, dude. Yeah, fuck Winona, dude. We're not using Winona ever again. Like, Winona's a piece of shit compared to Cheryl. Oh goodness, I'm so excited, dude. Like, I'm very, very pleased by that sort of damage there. I've always been a fan of Sandslash. Like, he's on the slow side, but he's quite defensive, and he's not as slow, like, not as stupidly slow as Boldore was. I forgot what Boldore even was called. Holy? Yeah, Holy. Yeah, he's not as ridiculously slow as Holy, and I don't think its special defense is even as bad as Holy is. Let's see. It's not great. Definitely not great. Not the worst though. And its HP is a lot better than Holy's as well. Is it a lot better? I can't even remember. You know, of course, I'm still sad about Holy. Like, if I was able to get it to its final evolution, like Gigalith, then I think I would have been more distraught over that. But because Holy was the final form, like it's basically reached its max potential there, I'm not that upset about it. Like, Sandslash is better than Boldore, but it's not better than Gigalith, you know? So I'm pretty okay with this. The Rock Tomb seems to be doing a lot. You know, of course I'm still sad about the loss of Dundee, because, oh, okay, you know what, you're a cool guy, whatever. Yeah, I'm still sad about the loss of Dundee. You know, Dundee would have been an invaluable member of the team because, oh, it doesn't one-shot anymore. Okay, sure, whatever, man, that's not a big deal. Mainly because Dundee was Dark type, and also Dundee had really high attack stat, and it was really fast. So it would have been really good to fight something that was also offensive, you know. But you know, Cheryl being a little bit bulkier is definitely not the end of the world. It's probably a positive thing, all in all, just so that I don't have to be so scared of being one shot by like a random hit from something, you know, like even a crit. If it's a physical attack, it probably won't be enough to one shot Sandslash or Cheryl. You know, I should call her by name. It's kind of rude not to. All right, gonna go down again and back up. Yeah, it feels good to be able to record again. I've been really enjoying this video making process. I hope that these last few episodes haven't been boring you guys to tears. You know, of course it's not It's not the most exciting thing in the world to just watch me fight the same thing over and over again, but I find a lot of the times when I watch Let's Plays on YouTube and stuff like that, I sort of just listen to the voice of whoever's talking, and it's sort of soothing. You know, it's kind of like almost ASMR-y, you know, if you're familiar with whatever that is. I don't know what it stands for. It's basically just a soothing, continuous voice that's supposed to help you sleep. But you know, there's a niche for streamers or video makers that help you go to sleep. Like I don't know if anybody is familiar with Kripparrian, a famous Hearthstone streamer. You know, I'm sure that if you're a regular Twitch viewer at all, you know who he is because he's one of the biggest streamers on Twitch. But he's known for putting people to sleep, not in the bad way either. Like, it's just he streams at a very late time. He streams at like I don't know, when does the stream start? Like 8 p.m. PST, so like 11 p.m. Eastern time, and he goes until, you know, like 1 a.m. Pacific. So that's prime sleeping time for on a working day. You know, like for a long time, when I was about to go to sleep, I would just put on Crip. He would just be really chill, no music. Every so often you hear him say something from time to time. And even when he's mad, he isn't like yelling. Like, I actually find yelling most of the time to be obnoxious. So I really appreciate that about him. And yeah, it was really comforting, and a lot of people tuned in every night just to sleep to his voice, basically. Just getting water as usual, you know. Yeah, see, 3 attack per level, so good. Sandslash isn't even that slow. Is Sandslash actually not slow? I don't actually know. Not really too sure. Maybe he's not actually slow and I've just been giving him a bad rap this whole time. Alright, this is going to be the end of Bambino's leveling period, finally. I'm very happy about this. You've done well, Bambino, my young friend. You're going to be the next thing to go on this list if I see something better. Because, you know, you're also not ideal. You're not terrible. You're not terrible by any means, you know. You're definitely serviceable, but I would probably prefer any other Pokemon other than you. No offense, no offense. You know, I've always thought that was a funny thing to say, is, like, if you say something that's clearly derisive, and, you know, you clearly meant it to be derisive, and you just say no offense, that, I don't know if that actually means anything. Like, I feel like that's just trying to say, like, I'm trying to put you down, but you shouldn't take it so seriously. I feel like the original intention of this is that you say something that may have sounded insulting if taken another way, and you're just trying to convey that you weren't thinking about it in that way, and you're trying to, you know, you're trying to correct whatever the other person is trying to think. Like 1 HP? Is this serious right now? You're trying to rectify any sort of misconceptions that the other person is having about what you meant to say there. And, you know, I feel like no offense is one of those things that's kind of lost meaning. Like, people use it willy-nilly to try and put the blame off of themselves. Oh, just give me 1 second. Alright, just had to greet some people there. It's some professionalism right there. The main reason I don't cut that shit out is because I don't have editing software, and I'm too lazy to get it, you know, and I feel like it's been okay so far, so I'm just gonna stick with my lazy way of playing the game, basically. Who needs editing when you when you can just do things on the fly? No big deal, right? Alright, so we're going to just heal up here, just because I'm running a little bit low on PP here. Should be no problem. I'm so happy that we're gonna finally be done with this area. Like, I feel like I'm going insane seeing Tranquil and Liepard over and over again. I wonder if I'm gonna, you know, have feelings of resentment towards them if I see them in future parts of this run. I don't think so. Like, it's actually been pretty therapeutic for me just to you know, do the same motion over and over again and feel like I'm getting incremental process. I was always a big MMO fan back in the day. You know, I played a lot of Ragnarok Online in my childhood, And if anyone's familiar with that game, that's a very, very grindy MMO. It's basically, I think it's one of the first that had no quests. Like, there weren't no quests, like, straight up, but it definitely didn't have any... Like, quests were definitely not the primary way that you leveled. It was basically you found a place that you could handle, and then you grinded the same mob over and over again. And that's how you got items as well. Like, it was a 1 in 10,000 chance. Every mob had a 1 in 10,000 chance to drop their card. And your equipment had, like, slots to put these cards in, and each individual's mob card has a unique effect. And of course, you know, there were some that were better than others. And if you wanted to get that card, you basically just grinded that mob for like weeks because it was a 1 in 10,000 chance that it drops. Or you bought it off somebody else, but you know, if it was a highly sought after card, then it was definitely very expensive. And the unfortunate part about it is that you couldn't even sell it to NPCs because all cards are worth like no money at all. And the only value that's put on them is how good the stat is on them. So even if it's like a 1 in 10,000 chance to drop, if it's a shitty stat, then no one would want it, and it was basically worthless even though it was such a rare drop. And yeah, I had really good times with Ragnarok Online. I never played the official server because it was paid to play until like, you know, 2005, 2004 or something like that. And so I always played on private servers, and I made quite a few friends that way. Like, I really enjoyed it. That was my first exposure to like really, really hardcore online gaming. Like, I still wasn't like one of the most hardcore people. Like, I played every day. I played many hours every day, but I definitely didn't have those like 13-hour grind days all the time. Mainly because I was never really that good. Like, I played when I was probably around 8 to until I was around 16, but you know, near the end it was very casually and just with like a few friends. Even at my peak time when I was playing, when I was like 12 years old and I was in guilds and stuff like that, there aren't any like raids like there were for World of Warcraft, but there was like this weekly guild versus guild event, and I never really attended very much because, first of all, my character was kind of shitty, and secondly, I was always busy on the weekends because I had like other shit to do, so I just never was really invested to that sort of point where I felt like I had responsibility. It was always just one of those things where I wanted to play because it was fun. Okay, just give me a moment here and get some more water. Yeah, so also, because that was my first foray into MMOs, I actually really dislike any MMO that has a lot of really good rewards from daily logins, because I am somebody who, like, I'm very fickle with what I want to do. Basically, like, for me, my free time is only relaxing if I have full control over what I can and can't do. Like, video games are my biggest passion, and that's usually what I go to. But there are a lot of days where I'm kind of tired. I don't really want to play this specific game. I want to, you know, I have a lot of games in my collection. Maybe I want to play something else instead of grinding this MMO today. Or maybe I want to just like lie in bed and watch some videos on my tablet, or, you know, like read a book or talk to some friends, something like that. Like, I feel like being able to have that that freedom of choice of being able to do whatever I want is what relaxes me. That's like my form of stress relief. And for MMOs that have really good dailies, if it's like I just need to log in, that's it, then I'm okay with it, because logging in is kind of a low commit sort of activity. But if it's like, oh, you know, run X number of dungeons, or like, you know, kill X number of mobs, and that's your daily, a lot of the time, like, I just don't want to play that game today. Like, I just don't feel like it. But if I miss the daily, I feel like I'm missing out on value. It feels like this is a reward that I'm never going to be able to get back, and so I have to do it. And it's at that point where the game starts to feel like more like a responsibility rather than like a pleasure activity, rather than like a leisure activity. And that's usually when I stop playing, is when the game starts to feel like a responsibility to me. Because I pretty much use games to you know, as things that I do when I'm done with my responsibilities. You know, it's something that I get to do to feel free, to feel like I'm just having fun. And yeah, I'm really strange in this regard. Like I've talked a lot to my other friends about this because I dabble here and there with some MMOs when they feel it, and usually they're like I have another friend who exclusively plays games for dailies. Like he basically doesn't play the game any other. He doesn't play games at all other than to just do the daily, and that's like insane to me. I'm just like, how does that even happen? You know, like how can you even just do that? Because the daily to me is like the least valuable part of the gameplay experience. But yeah, he's somebody that like I think they played a game together. I wasn't playing this during the time. They played a game called Elements Online, and everyone except him quit after a week. He quit after 2, but he still did the dailies for like 2 years, and he became like the richest person on the entire server because how consistently he did these dailies. And I think he just finds something really like satisfying about getting rewards every day. Like he's not an avid Hearthstone player, but he's been playing since beta, and basically he does not play the game other than to play dailies, which to me is just like ridiculous. Like I hate the dailies. Doing the dailies is like the worst part of any game because it feels like a chore. Like it's not fun. It's just like I have to do this because if I don't do this, I'm losing out on value. You know. So that's why I play a lot of single-player games as well, because it doesn't have this aspect. It has like a more intrinsic value to me. And also I play games, like, I like games with daily challenges, because those are like, I have something to do every day, and if I miss it, it doesn't matter, because I don't gain anything from doing it. It's just me trying to pit myself against other people, basically. You know, it's just a form of competition. But if it's like one of those things where it's like it's a repetitive value, if it's not a lot of value, I generally just don't do it. Like I'll just, like for example in League of Legends, I never do the daily win thing. Like if I don't win that day, I don't give a shit. I just will not get it. It doesn't matter to me at all, because it's not a huge reward. It's like it's a really whatever reward. But there are certain like games where the daily gives you pay to play items. Like you either pay real money to get them, or you play the dailies and then you accumulate it slowly over time. And to miss out on those, it just feels so bad, because you're just like, these items, they will never be shown again other than to buy them, or it's like a limited time offer, or it's like I have to keep on doing these dailies that I don't want to do, and that just makes me feel like really bad about the game a lot of the time. And it's just my own personal bias. Like I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with dailies. You know, it gets players to keep on playing because they feel that sense of reward. But it's just not for me, I suppose. I remember the dailies that I was most okay with were when I was playing Vindictus and Blade and Soul, where the dailies were literally just log in, do this thing, and then you can log out and you're done. But I actually, like, when I stopped playing the game, I also stopped doing the dailies. Like, that's usually how it goes for me. Like, if I'm not enjoying the gameplay, then I also am not going to enjoy doing the dailies, like, even if it's just logging in. Because I just don't even want to click the game. Like, I just don't like it. Like, I don't feel the need to click on it, you know? But I think, I might be a little bit unique in that regard. Like, I don't think that's the typical way of seeing things. Give me a moment here. The game in question that I'm talking about that I had this discussion with is Dungeon Fighter Online, because my friends are huge fans of it. They've been playing it for like 2 years basically. They've made they have like 1 billion max level accounts and stuff like that, which is quite the feat. Like it takes a long time to get there, and I just said, like, it's a Korean MMO to its very core, and what that means is it has a fatigue system, because in Korea, and I think in China as well, there are laws against people playing video games for too long. They think it's disruptive for society. So every online MMO is made so that there's only a limited amount that you can play per day. Like, you can technically stay on the game, but you won't be able to progress. Like, you won't be able to get experience, or you'll get like vastly reduced experience, or like a limited number of dungeon entries per day. And DFO does this through a fatigue system, which basically is for every room in the instance dungeon that you run, you use 1 fatigue, and you have a limited number of fatigue per day, and then you're just not allowed to run dungeons anymore. So you can do like cleric work, you can like, run around in town, buy items or whatever, like that kind of crap. You can do for as long as you want, but you can't actually play the game, which is the dungeon part. And for me, this was like the biggest turnoff in the world. Not because I felt like, oh, I want the freedom to play as much as I want. I definitely didn't use the fatigue bar most days of the week. But what happened is that, you know, the fun in MMOs for me is playing with other people. It's not like grinding the gameplay by myself. And there would be some days where I just didn't have time to play it at all. But once I'm behind by one fatigue bar, there's no catching back up, because I can't just be like, oh, I have all day free today and those guys can't play, so I can just level up until I'm the exact same level as them. This just wasn't an available option to me, you know? If I missed one day of fatigue, I was forever behind one day of fatigue until they missed one. And if they never missed one, then I was just always behind. And so there was a lot of pressure on me for me to feel like I don't want to miss any of my fatigue. Like, if I have time to play, I need to grind out the entire fatigue bar, which took like 2 to 3 hours, and that was often like more than I wanted to play that game that day anyway. Like, I would want to play like maybe an hour or two just here and there between break or something like that, and it just didn't work for my schedule, you know? Like, I want to be able to control when I play, so that I feel like if I fall behind, it's not a big deal. I'm not like losing value that's forever gone into the ether, you know? Yeah, so that was the game that I was talking about specifically. The video's gone on for long enough. I've got all my main party to 35. This is finally going to be the last episode of the grind. I'm very happy that it's over. And, you know, maybe I'll continue this discussion another day. Probably not. I think I've exhausted everything about it. But as usual, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and comment. It helps out a lot. And if you want to see more, I'll see you again tomorrow for another one. Bye!